The Elite Cabal knew they could not make or conjure up a whole new dimension of reality. Instead, they wanted something almost as good. This group of individuals with the same eternal power also wanted to have your power and my power. Imagine that this group wanted to take possession of all that is ours. However, they can't take it from us by force because it's locked inside us and it is who we are. Still, they desire to at least control it. This group wished for our power to work in unison with their power, and the enormity of that combined strength of power and knowing would make them greater than the greatest, the most massive force in existence. Imagine again that all that knowing you possess has within it the power and strength to exist forever. There's no beginning and no end. You have the power and wisdom to be eternal. Imagine that you're filled with this knowing and completely possessed with this eternal power and strength. This is about as powerful as anyone can hope to be. Let's imagine that this knowing not only exists in you, but it exists in every person on the planet. It's not something you have to go out and find. It's just there, in you, and in everyone that ever walked on the face of the earth. Early Babylon. For all of those who were faithful to this so-called creator, God, El, the God of matter, became the elect, the chosen and faithful. They were the saints of God who were promised riches and power and would reign with El if they would just put their faith in him. This was the covenant, the agreement between man and God. This covenant was kept in an ark, the Ark of the Covenant. The ark is the arcing characteristics of electricity. If anyone was to touch the ark, other than the high priest, they would be electrocuted and struck dead. Remember now, electricity is created through hypnotic suggestion, or the thought process, not, as we've come to believe, that it's generated by means of all manner of machinery. The elite of today think they're gods themselves, the saints of gods, the elect and divinely appointed rulers of humanity. They apply the principle of subliminal messaging taught to them by the old cabal of the past through religious and intellectual institutions, turning that power into material wealth. They control and enslave everyone on the planet whilst giving everyone a false version of reality to experience. The old cabal bloodlines from the beginning of time all the way to the new generation bloodlines are the shakers and movers of this world from behind the scenes. These cabal bloodlines are known by the title Moria, Conquering, Wind, the Family, and the Enlightened Ones. The Olympians, or the Circle, is a secretive title which is given to members who have participated in the highest degree ritual, known as the 360th Full Circle Ritual. The Pindar, which means the penis of the dragon, is the leader who rules over the council of 13 druids directly under Luciferian control. He is the highest level on earth. The most popular name they are known by is the Illuminati, which basically means to be illuminated into knowledge. They actually hate being called the Illuminati, as this is a broad spectrum title given to anyone in the higher degrees who is illuminated into occult knowledge. Occult, by the way, means hidden. There are over 800 secret societies and mystery schools worldwide. Religious factions, government and scientific institutions are on some levels secret societies themselves. Another powerful player in the game is the Jesuit order. However, not all of these societies are involved in any conspiracy or wrongdoings. Most of them are clueless. These bloodline groups infiltrate all these societies and only initiate a tiny % of members to be part of the grand plan. The rest are used in the game without even knowing. Some are easily bought or bribed. They are all used like chess pieces in the game to carry out the agenda. There are two kinds of elite. One are the gophers you see in the spotlight, like the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. The others you never see at all. They remain hidden behind the scenes. The elite are not on the top of the pyramid. This pyramid is in a deep trance state and is composed of the elite royal bloodlines that today controls world affairs. Institutions such as the Vatican, the monarchy, the United Nations, NATO, the World Bank, the World Health Organization, the Club of Rome, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the International Monetary Fund, the Red Cross, the Red Crescent, the U.S. Federal Reserve, United Way, Habitat for Humanity, World Wildlife Federation, Greenpeace, the Salvation Army, Red Shield, Rothschilds, Watchtower Society, Jehovah's Witnesses, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Roman Catholic Church, Protestant and evangelical Christian organizations, the World Zionist Movement, the media, the movie industry, the recording industry, the Corporation of the United States of America. You name it, they own it and manipulate it in one way or another. So, what do the elite cabal know that we don't? Well, they know a lot, especially how the matrix of reality works, how the subconscious mind works, and how it does something very unique by filling in the blanks to suggestions and close-sounding words. They especially know about thought. What we focus on becomes reality. Now, imagine millions of people throughout the world for thousands of years thinking a certain way and focusing on certain subjects. They also, of course, understood the ether. Duality. Without duality, there is no thought or division generated. These poles refer to Boaz and Jachin, the B and J or G pillars, the north and the south pillars of Solomon's temple. In turn, this refers to the two sides of the brain, the left and right side, which in turn is referred to as the temples on each side of the head. This is the receiving dish whereby all implanted thoughts are ingested into our crystal, all-Christ brain. How on earth did the Cabal hijack our reality? Let us go back in illusory times. The old Cabal had access to knowledge which they had kept hidden from public view, especially after the deluge. Without going too deep, let us imagine that Xbox or PlayStation bought out the newest game on the market. Let us then imagine that this game had 7 levels. This new game was very complicated, and in fact no one could master it. In fact, this video game was so complicated that no one could go past level 1. Occasionally, some really smart and highly spirited people would reach levels 3 and 4, but somehow a small, selective, minute group of people managed to master all 7 levels. They were looked upon as some gods or wizards by the others. This last-minute group tried every trick in the book to conceal the secret on how this was possible. This secret was handed down from generation to generation, but only to family members. Now, can you guess how they managed to reach the highest level possible, level 7? Now, if you guessed that this selective group had all the game cheats on every level of play, then you guessed right. Not only did they have the game cheats, but they knew the language of the software. They hijacked reality by knowing the game cheats of creation, the language of the Matrix universe, to manipulate the way we decode our reality into a holographic experience. Scientists and esoteric researchers have identified recurring mathematical codes like the Fibonacci number sequence found throughout nature. This involves adding the last 2 numbers to get the next one, as in 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. The sequence can be found in everything from the proportions of the human body to the way plants grow. Other mathematical and geometrical codes and recurring sequences include phi proportions, golden mean, so-called sacred geometry, numerology, the Chinese I Ching, astrology, and many others. These are the mathematics of the Matrix, which, at least in this reality, can be broken down into numbers and codes, as with DNA. Appropriately and not coincidentally, this is how computers work. Everything you see on a computer screen, including the colors, are sequences of numbers using the binary system, based on a 1 and a 0. This is an expression of the duality and polarity of the Matrix. Let's take a look at some of the ways they did this. Remember in video 1 how the subconscious and conscious mind really works. The mind is obsessed with shape, sound, and color. Why? Because that's all it has. The crystal brain was created that way. Thoughts are sounds, shapes, vibrations and light. That's the universal language or software. The mind then decodes these sounds, vibrations into a 3D holographic illusion we call life. Everything within this 3D space is divided light and therefore is energy. As light passes through a crystal, it is refracted into a rainbow. This is the origin of the term Christ. Divided light is a rainbow. Everything physical is formed from this rainbow in some form or another. Everything, from the tiniest subatomic particle to the galaxies above, is made of bits of the rainbow. The rainbow canopy of light that surrounds our true awareness has seduced us into accepting the illusion as the real deal. This is the sacred geometry, or sexual geometry, that holds the conjured-up illusion intact. Without this mathematical wizardry, nothing would appear as three-dimensional. Now, this is where the information on this documentary starts to go in all directions. I could not possibly explain everything in 7 video presentations, which are already quite long. Arm yourselves with this info to stop the coming devastation and create a better reality by changing your outlook on the material world. More information on www.theholographicdisclosure.com. Subliminal messages shape and control our reality. Subliminal. A subliminal is a message that does not rise above conscious threshold. A subliminal is designed to act on the mind at a subconscious level. If subliminal messaging were rational and able to be recognized on the conscious level, it wouldn't be subliminal. We would never pay attention to it. The 3D world is one huge subliminal. The body has 5 physical senses programmed to be receptive to the 3-dimensional illusion around us. The way these senses pick up the signals from the 3D curtain is through subliminal messages. There are 2 kinds of subliminal, one in nature and the other is manufactured. Man-made subliminals are constructed through such techniques as simple shapes, sounds and colors. And then the more complex multi-layered methods such as reverse imagery, reverse symbolism, distorted symbolism, reverse speech patterns, neuro-linguistic programming techniques, and the elaborate use of the language and number systems, among other devious modes of manipulation. The subconscious mind creates this 3D reality through subliminal suggestion. The knowledge they possess is called Kabbalism, the ability to manipulate matter one molecule at a time. They apply the principle of subliminal messaging taught to them by the old Cabal of the past, through religious and intellectual institutions. Kabbalism has kicked into high gear with the onslaught of the Renaissance around 1000 AD. The Renaissance means the rebirth of thinking, which is not to say they stopped thinking, but a total push for total domination, total submission and total control was now on. Subliminal messaging, hypnotic suggestions, sigils, archetypes, wordplay, so on and so on. These things program the subconscious mind, and we create the reality they want us to experience. Natural subliminal symbolism. The hypnotic subliminals will even be shown to extend into the constellations in a very important way. The sun and moon are holograms to provide the illusion of day and night, the movement of time. Everything else is illusion. Everything. This includes space as well as time. Scientists talk about the space-time continuum, but space and time do not exist. The whole universe is one big subliminal. Everything is based on a form of astrology and numerology. However, the numerology and astrological forms commonly used are not accurate, but are introduced into the agenda as a smokescreen and front. Subliminals are all around us and lock us into a state of hypnosis almost impossible to escape. There are many symbolic subliminal messages set up throughout the world today. These include cities, countries, geographical formations. The streets are completely saturated with triangles and pyramids. Next time you go to work, have a look in your building at all the shapes and triangles everywhere.
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
Symbols have hidden meanings in them. They work on the subconscious mind. Replicating or repetition is the strongest form of hypnosis. When this is coupled with fear-based trauma, the victim is rendered impotent and unable to escape. Every major event, past and present, that has ever taken place in the world, we have been programmed to experience it through subliminals. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is left for chance. The pentagram is one big subliminal. The pentagram and other shapes are codes that relate to the mathematics of the matrix and affect how DNA interprets reality. They are placed all around us to manipulate the way we decode our reality into the holographic experience. Pentagrams everywhere. Washington. Sigils everywhere. Language is one big sigil and designed that way. All language slowly evolved, on purpose, so as not to get the symbolism too powerful. English being the most recent and the most powerful. It should be pointed out that the basic block-style letter was first introduced just a few centuries ago. I could possibly not explain the word associations and go into the alphabet meanings, as it's huge to explain. As an example, the last letter in the English alphabet is Z or Z. Likewise, Z is the first letter of the first number, 0. This is not a coincidence. This word, imagination, says more than that, however. It's telling us that images are magic tricks of the eye and of the sun. In other words, images, which are three-dimensional impressions, are just magic tricks performed by manipulating light that is symbolized by the sun. The name Cancer has death overtones and has been a driving subliminal force established over the last few decades with the fabrication of cancers of all descriptions. This disease has been used to establish the trance state so that its subliminal duty is to create the reality whereby we associate cancer and death simultaneously. Let's look at the word God. Now let us look at it spelt backwards equals dog. Nothing but nothing is coincidental. It's planned that way and goes deeper than that. It's all got to do with sex and atoms. Never let it be said that the Luciferian mind does not have a sense of humor. After all, who is it that puts the laughter in slaughter? Let's look at this word, Zion. Zion equals N-O-I-Z, when reversed equals noise. That's all that Zion really means, it's just noise. There's nothing sacred about Mount Zion in the old city of Jerusalem. Mount Zion is wherever the most noise can be created to distract, confuse, and deceive the masses as to what the whole corrupt plan entails. There's nothing noisier than wars, disease, entertainment, finances, law, and the like, all of which have been controlled in a very huge way by the powerful Jewish tycoons throughout the ages. Remember Zion in the Matrix movie? A lot of noise there. The center of noise. Every word and number conjured to form the three-dimensional energy illusion is based on a flawed system conspired to generate death. For example, the 360-degree circle is based on the yearly cycle the Earth travels around the Sun. This number of 360 degrees is supposed to represent the 360 days needed to fulfill the cycle. However, the actual time it takes is 365¼ days, and a couple of minutes and a few seconds. The number 360 is rounded down so that mathematical equations can be devised. This is done deliberately to conflict with the illusory Luciferian conjured-up natural creation, so that the illusory three-dimensional world experience is out of harmony, corruptible, and subject to death. So much of the 3D illusion seems to almost work, to almost be in harmony, yet it isn't. Not only does it create disharmony, it is designed to frustrate and fail, keeping peace and harmony just out of reach. Forget scientific explanations. The Illuminati agenda stays hidden because it's based on sheer lunacy and simplicity. We are dealing with a wicked, wicked intelligence. Notice the word numb, N-U-M-B. We see the meaning of the number system. It is the system meant to numb our senses, thereby numbing our connection to awareness. This hypnotic numbing and forced conformity is a lack of awareness, resulting from the continuous bombardment of numbers associated with all aspects of life. Let's now look at occult numbers. Here are some symbolic interpretations of the numbers. These numbers are not based on astrology, numerology, or the zodiac charts developed over the centuries, but are based on what they really mean subliminally. 1 equals a new beginning. 2 equals duality. 3 equals deity shape, triangle, pyramid, trinity. 4 equals 4 square foundation. 5 equals humanity earth, the sacrifice, the pentagram, pentagon. 6 equals Christ, Antichrist, crystal light divider, sex origin. 7 equals completion. 8 equals control. 9 equals fall. 10 equals intensity. 11 equals death. 12 equals full circle, whole, or whole, H-O-L-E. The next number, being 13, would start on the second clock face and would have the same symbolic meaning as the number 1. Numbers also include some word-sound manipulation. For instance, 7 sounds like heaven. We use the term seventh heaven. This is no coincidence. 7 also sounds like 11. 7 represents completion and perfection. However, it links in a subliminal sound and shape fashion to 11, which is the number of death. The completion and perfection associated with 7 in this instance is that of a perfect and complete death.